If you've listened to my podcast before, you will know who my next guest is. And if you live in the UK, you certainly will know who my next guest is. Yes, it's the one and only Nicky Campbell. And we share something. And we are proud parents of senior dogs. And that's what I want to talk to him today. But I also want to find out what makes Nicky Campbell, Nicky Campbell. So welcome back to the podcast, Nicky. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, me too. It's always wonderful to talk to you. I love your wisdom about dogs, and you've taught me so much. You think you taught me, which I think above all is something that I say to people, and I always quote you, is that if you understand their body language, you are so much further into understanding how they tick and how they operate and how they think. And your relationship with your dog is a million times better if you actually understand all the body language and what they're trying to say and how they're trying to communicate.
Oh my gosh, they're so expressive with their bodies. It's sometimes really hard to recognize and understand the signals that dogs are giving us. And it does become harder as dogs get older, as they become a little bit less expressive in some ways with their bodies. Tell me what it's been like from your point of view to sort of what changes have you seen in Maxwell as he's got older? And what are some of the challenges that you've had living with a senior dog?
Well, sometimes he loves coming upstairs, and a couple of times he's fallen over coming up the stairs. But he doesn't have any cognitive decline. He's the same intellectual he always has been. So he's fine there.
Now, you write a lot about your journey and your relationship with Maxwell in your book. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
One of the family, why a dog called Maxwell changed my life. It talks about my adoption. I talk about long lost family. I talk about identity crises growing up as an adopted child, but being in a loving family, but never quite knowing who I was. I talk about mental health issues. At the heart of it is when I had my breakdown, and I literally got to Euston Station to go to Manchester, and I collapsed on the ground. I was just at the bottom, and I was just weeping. And I picked the phone up, ring my wife Tina, and I was sort of, and she says, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" And I managed to explain that it was it, and I couldn't carry on anymore, and it was terrible. And then she said, "Come home to us, come home to us." And then she said, "Come home to Maxwell," and that did it. And it kind of got my head together. I lay on the bed when I got home, and when you're very depressed, you don't really want to talk to anyone, and you don't want to answer any questions. And so I was lying on the bed, and then I had this little tinkly collar coming outside, and he leapt up onto the bed. His head was resting on my chest, like that, his chin, and you can feel the warmth through his body. He knew. He absolutely knew. The warmth and the kind of electricity of love coming from him to me was amazing. Amazing. I'll never forget it.
Thanks for watching. If you love It's Me or the Dog and want more dog training tips and tricks, visit my official site, positively.com. And if you're interested in learning more about becoming a dog trainer, check out the Victoria Stilwell Academy. Links to both sites are in the description. I'll see you online.